We're jumping into it. Later start, but I had other stuff going on. Blah, blah, blah. Start. Good evening, Zev people. How are everybody? Phone notification. Probably just letting me know that I'm streaming. Yes. Which is good. Can I hear myself? Yep, I can hear myself. Cool, that means we should be good to fly. Let's turn that sideways, get that on here. And we're good. We live. Hello, Mr. Southeast Aviation. Welcome in. See, I got a little mark on one of my lenses. That's a rare sight to see. Was it decently high, or was it low enough to appreciate? Or I don't know if you saw it. So was it at a level, or if it was close enough to you, would it have been low enough to appreciate? That's the way it should have been phrased there. Who are you? Okay, we're somewhere over here. Set as departure. We're gonna do the 160 today because we're fancy being in Dubai. There we go. That new money helicopter. Didn't see it since it was behind trees. Oh, you post on Discord? Okay, I haven't checked Discord in a bit. I was working out, and the season finale of Will Trent was on tonight. So I wanted to watch that because a rifle that I put together was actually screen used. So I posted some pictures of that on Instagram. We should just be getting sunrise-ish, soon-ish. Final destination out here in Riyadh? Dunno. Somewhere out here. Maybe like up here. Set as arrival. We're going to swing Abu Dhabi. Because around here is also like Ferrari World, and I think Yas Marina is over here somewhere, and yeah. There's Ferrari World. And Yas Marina. Should be, yep, Yas Marina Circuit. We're still not going to do those water crossings. It's way too much crap for me. So we're going to be coasting, if you know what I say. I could probably fill up here. There we go. That's enough along the coast area. And if we absolutely need to, which I don't see us because this thing has a good range, We'll toss that in there too. And then 950, okay. Waypoints are going to kind of be hit and miss. So first one, obviously Dubai. And then we'll be considerate Oscar Mike Alpha Delta Batin. And then from there, I'll be following along the coast. And the next, obviously, the first one won't be a stop, it'll just be a waypoint. The one after that would be Oscar Mike Alpha Hotel for Al Hamur Auxiliary Airport. The next one will just kind of follow around the coast. If we need to stop in the middle of the desert, it will be at Harad, which is Oscar Echo Hotel Romeo. And then final stop, which we will have to stop for gas at some point, we are past range, will be Oscar Echo Romeo Yankee. And that's the run for the day. And we are in the H160, so I'm planning on keeping speeds up to like Black Hawk speeds. We're doing it quick-ish, relative. Okay, I'm going to go and start flight. It was a later start today. One, because obviously we're really trying to kick to the west now, so that's going to push our start time later and later if we want to fly during daylight. But also, if fix my headset, making it comfortable. So yeah, trying to do realistic daylight is more or less not a thing right now. Which I'm still doing live time. We're kind of at this point, you know. Plus I was busy-ish, so. Second, third airport. Give me a second. That's just a turning point along the coast. Oscar Mike Alpha Hotel. And Oscar Echo Hotel Romeo. And the finishing point is Oscar Echo Romeo Yankee. So let's get in here before this thing flies off on us, because it has the world's most useless rotor brake that only works when I'm sitting in it, apparently. Okay, let's see. Do I feel like I'm sitting in the right place? Maybe I could be a little bit taller, but I'll wait until we start up first. Let's hope this thing starts. I've had a lot of bad luck with some things here recently. So let's see. That's all that. Don't need that. Cool. Battery 1, battery 2. Let's see. Don't have anything fuel-wise down here that we need. I think that's all automatically done. Okay, cool. And one's moving. That's stabilized. Let's get engine 2. Oh no, you stay here. I don't know why you're doing that. There's not that much input going on. Okay, that's a good start there. Generator on. All those are on. Try my fuel button a few times in case it didn't carry over what we needed. Because it's an air base, I'll divert to the closest on a VOR I'll use. Perfect. Okay, let's see. Let's throw maps up on these. Nothing there. Cool with that. I don't think I'll need synthetic vision. It's relatively flat flight today. We're going to bring these down to flight. Cool. I think we are good. Exterior lights, might as well let people know. So I'm going to put you. I'm going to pick everybody up at the hotel. Hold that for me, would you? Better looking Elaine. Parking brake is off. Start moving. Need to turn off all that crap. Dubai Tower or helicopter 420 Foxtrot Whiskey. Picking up the cargo ramps. Will be buzzing the tower on the way out. Just slow down the other traffic for me if you don't mind. Landing gear, I'm aware. We're expediting enough, they'll be okay with it. Like, what are they gonna do, run into me? Appreciate y'all dealing with me, Tower. Get away from this airport, because it throws my frames off, that is for sure. We'll come down here to the airport, grab the viewers, and we'll get on our way. Which, if anybody's not sure what I'm talking about, at the end of the last stream, before landing there at the international airport, I went to that 7-star hotel, whatever it is down here. Dropped everybody off at the helipad, and then came back. Oop. So my screen had started shaking pretty good right there. Curious if that translates. It usually never does. Just a little bit, but not really. Why do I have people in my ear? I don't want to be on a... Gross. I just had ATC in my ear. Gross. Wonder if I can get off of that frequency. Nearest airport, hospital. hospital talk. Oh no, why aren't you going away? There we go. Okay. Also, I know you're going to be working to try to keep up with me, but I got to make a stop at the helipad down here, so you've got a minute or two to get moving, taxi, and get off the ground over there. Hotel is in sight. Yeah, I feel like we might have maybe 1 or 2 more episodes before it starts getting super dark at starting time. So we'll have to do like an hour of early morning flying. And then the sun will rise and it will be light enough to be enjoyable for everybody. Then there's at some point when I'm just going to have to say screw it. And we're going to have to fly early morning my time. So I'll have to wake up a wee bit early to make it a thing. Also, just updated the Australian area. So one day after a stream, Tom has promised me that he will drop in either for a non-around the world session or late enough to where it will be a shenanigan time when I want to do shenanigans, because now it's all going to get later and later and later. But we'll do that and go look at some Australian cities and see how much better they look with the Australian update. Okay, so the wind's kind of coming out of my butt. That doesn't sound right. But we'll make an approach from the other side of the pad. Killing off that airspeed, maintaining my altitude while doing so, if not even adding a little bit of altitude. We're basically going to be approaching parallel to the beach here. We're below 60 now. I can put gear down. What a good looking sunrise here over Dubai. Burj off in the distance. Parking brake is off. Also, I cannot imagine this approach on that little airplane that Red Bull did it with. The Cub landing on here must have been wild. Like, props to the pilot, but also props to like Mike Patey and all the other absolute geniuses that we're able to create a Cub that can do a stall landing on this. Because this is tight. Okay, parking brakes on. All my homies, get in the helicopter, please. Very good looking plane. More fog on your sim. Yeah, it's definitely hazy for sure. It looks like it's clear to the east. I don't even know if it's fog or if that's just a sand thing that happens. Okay, parking brake off. We're going to pick up into a hover. Kind of step off to the right and turn to the right at the same time. That way we're not bumping our tail into anything we shouldn't be bumping it into. Let's put our gear up. And we can start leaning into her. Give or take, following down the coast, looking for Ferrari World. What, the 160s? Oh, the Palm Island looks huge. Oh, yeah. The island is huge. Excuse me. Doesn't just look huge, it is. Ground speed 151. What a beautiful helicopter. Definitely have some changing winds around here as well. Oh, and we're chooching up 170 ground. We will be cooking today with fire. Yeah, definitely more haze to the east. And looking out over the desert, pretty rough as well. Maximum speed? What? Cool, I'll slow down. Sue me, I like cruising 170 airspeed. Okay, off we go. Another long episode today. I think it might go by a little bit faster. We'll see. Knock on wood. Yeah, I feel like you might have better luck cruising up there at altitude, dude. I don't want to get up there because I'd rather not hop into the boringness yet, as we're still kind of over cities, and Abu Dhabi is not that far away. It's like an hour drive, but at this speed we're not too far. In between Dubai and Abu Dhabi there's also a pretty good bit of little urban sprawl, then a little desert, then more urban sprawl, so I'm okay with playing a bit lower, having something to look at. And actually, it looks like the tablet's being friendly today. So I want to move it here to where this tablet usually lives. Just because I don't want their tablet up, I'd rather have the flight sim one up. Even though their tablet's better, this one just has all the route data already in there. Also, there is a button that allegedly you can program or something to be like a trim release or something like that. I forget what I programmed it as. I wonder if this will screw me. I feel like I made it R. We'll see. That didn't crash us, so I'm feeling okay about it. Ground speed 155. Over the docks and through the woods. Yeah, they definitely do not have those cranes modeled in. You can see them, but they're not modeled in. I feel like those have also been there long enough to where they should have been modeled in. It's not like this is a small population area. It's a very popular area. Also, it's crazy that the entrance to the palm tree is over here where there's not much on the ground. You think it would be closer, but the palm tree's so big that it's not. But I don't know how well developed the second palm is compared to the first one back there, so who knows. Yeah, dude, it should be relatively easy, quiet night for me and you. And if you want to go faster and get ahead at some point, if you want to log off, you do you. I know it was a later start for me. But this is what we get for flying on a weeknight. Slowly working on trimming it out as we're going here. Trying to optimize, you know? Thinking of doing the airliner but doing your own thing? Yeah. Like I said, no big deal. It's already cool enough that you're flying along with, so. Yeah, so anyways, last year, in like early season 3 filming for Will Trent, really 2 years ago, this is 2024, there's rumors of him needing to use a rifle in one of the scenes, and I was like, hey, if we're going to do that, let me put together something, because all the rental rifles we have kind of look crappy. And they're like, okay, yeah, sure, go ahead. So I reached out to a whole bunch of cool companies and had a handful of cool parts donated. And I put together a super sick rifle for the Will Trent. And we never used it in Season 3. And then we didn't use all Season 4 until the very last episode on one day of filming for one scene. But I finally got it in. So like this $1,000 upper and $500 light and custom, not a suppressor for it, and like a lot of cool companies donated stuff to it. So super glad to see that it finally got used on screen. Took long enough, but we did it. Dude, I need one of these things to daily drive. Dude, honestly, like if I had just
infinite money, I don't know if this would be my daily driver. I like it, but I think you're also very limited to places that you would want to go land. Its wheels, they're relatively close to the ground when they're on the ground. Like I said, money no object as far as like cool fuel, maintenance, whatever, like not factoring that in. For the things that I like to do and I enjoy doing, the 160 or any wheeled helicopter would be a rough sale. The only one that wouldn't be would be a Black Hawk, even though this could probably land in more places just because it's got plenty of power and like a shorter wheelbase, so it could technically land on like a little bit rougher ground because it wouldn't worry about bottoming out. But I feel like the Black Hawk gear is pretty tall. Either way, I feel like a nice skidded helicopter would be much more practical. Land anywhere, not have to worry about landing gear getting stuck. Then you're also not worried about, I'd like to say you're not worried about time because of its infinite money, whatever. I really like the 145s. But also I kind of like the 135s too. A little bit shorter, a little less room for stuff. It was like, cool, how often am I putting that much stuff in a helicopter? And is there any point to where it's like, okay, cool, having a 135 would be a detriment compared to having a 145? Or is it one of those things where if it's money no object for the actual ownership and everything of it, where the 145 just makes sense? Like, I wonder if there's anybody who's bought a 135 because the 145 was like an extra $1.5 million and extra money or whatever, and it just doesn't make sense for them. Or if there's like an actual practical purpose for the 135 outside of financial reasons. Definitely a smaller heli to replace a car. Yeah. And with that said, also, I love the idea of two engines flying over an airport right here, or an old airfield. Doesn't look like it's active, or if it is, not very. It's like two engines, nice. Obviously, it's safety and everything like that. But also, like, engines are so good nowadays, and if you're keeping up with maintenance and everything, then extremely low chance of any sort of failure. So with that said, something like an A-Star or the 130 would be super nice just because it's smaller footprint, less complex. But also the A-Star doesn't have a lot of room comparatively to like a 135 or 145. While I don't like the center divider that's in the MD600, and MD600 is always going to be one of my favorites that I would love to have one day. Even though a lot of the pilots I've talked to, sorry about the wiggles here guys, I'm readjusting myself. Even though a lot of pilots I talk to are like, cool, NOTAR's cool, but it's just not, it's not worth you putting the investment in with other stuff. Not active airport. Looks like roads go over it. Ah. But they're like, yeah, NOTAR's cool idea, but you lose a lot of pedal authority. And like the benefits of it, other than like people not walking into your tail rotor, it's like, okay, cool, how often are you like backing the back of your helicopter into a bush to where that matters? And besides, you only have like a foot or two then, and that's already close enough to where you probably shouldn't be landing that close. Just because like wind or whatever, it could pull branches down, or like, it's just not smart to anyway. So like the practical application of a NOTAR is really only a safety thing for people walking into the tail. And noise, if that's your thing, I think they sound sick. I think they look sick. 600N, one of the peak helicopters in my opinion. Don't really care for the 902 or the 900 series. They're twin engine Notar. Looks too skinny for me. Too tall, too skinny. Looks like Megamind. But I also do like the idea of running an MD over an Airbus because made in America versus some European spinny boy. And speaking made in America, oop, wiggly screen. And speaking made in America, something like a Bell would be nice. But Bell really doesn't have a smaller helicopter anymore. It's either Bell 505, which is two-bladed, cool, but I feel like there's a point when I would want something that's three-blade, just to have a three-blade or more, just to have a don't want to say safer rotor system because it's not like two blades are falling out of the sky. It's like sometimes maybe I want to do a little bit of a low G. Maybe I want to fly aggressively sometimes just for fun, taking friends out. And if it's perfectly within the helicopter's capabilities, why not? Also, if anybody brings up the Jesus Nut argument, just turn off the stream. You're not going to win. Okay, getting up here to Ferrari World. Like I said, this thing's quick. She's a fast helicopter. Yeah, Bell really doesn't have anything that's single engine personal right now other than the 505. I'm getting a lot of wiggles on the screen today. I wonder if it's because this light's on. Let's turn that off. Might be a little bit crappy for the, calm down. Might be a little bit crappy for the webcam view, but whatever. Yeah, MD600N, cool. Like, I like the 520s, and obviously, not a lot of people know this, but now, there has been the FAA approval of stuff like the 530N upgrade, what they call it, the Super D, the D20R, and stuff that's upgrading the weaker engine MDs to the engine out of like the 530 or the 600 and making them a bit more capable and practical and like better high, hot, or heavy, or all three conditions, stepping up like payloads, like 300 pounds internal, like decent gains, you know, better fuel economy, all the stuff that's very cool for anybody who's an owner operator or something like that. But they're non-600 series, even though there is room for people in the back. It's like it's a much more cramped area comparatively. Okay, so right here we're getting over Ferrari World. We're going to kind of fly down the island slightly to Yas Marina. And we'll kind of go off of our flight director a little bit just to stay a bit more on the coast as we're going over. Yeah, like an MD 500, 500E, 500D, doesn't matter. Would be sick. Be absolutely amazing to have. There's a mall there. And I would love to have one either way. But it's like, given the option, there's Jazz Marina. Very good F1 track. Beautiful place. Especially at night. Big aeroport. Yeah, airport right there. I'm right on their approach and departure paths. Hello, guys. Yeah, I've always wanted to do like a flight to Abu Dhabi. Just to like Uber across the street for Ferrari World and the mall and Yas Marina and stuff. And then fly back. It's like 20 hours worth of flight one way and 20 hours worth of flight the other way back. I think it'd be funny. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we'll stay on Flight Director. Why not? Kind of watery, kind of following the shore. I'm cool with it. And I want to say my friend lives in Abu Dhabi. I want to say he's not Dubai. I want to say he's Abu Dhabi. So I was there. If you come back today to rewatch this part of the stream, hello. Yeah, I think so, because I remember flying in the stream one time with him watching, and we flew over this mosque. Yeah, it's like the MDs are cool, but they're just kind of cramped in the back. And it's like, okay, cool, if I want to use it for more, kind of limit on that and space and bringing things along. Like if I want to go take my friends shooting or like on a small vacation or something like that, friends, family, it'd be nice to be able to put like a couple of little suitcases and stuff and not be crammed in. It's like, oops, spent $1 million on a helicopter, but you got to put your knees in your ears. And that's kind of the thing with the A-Star. The A-Star is a lot of room, very practical, comparatively to the MD-500. But still, like, there could be more room. If you get one with the squirrel cheeks, that's nice, because then you can get a lot more in there. And on that too, if you have the, I mean, it's less money, but if you have the money and the patience to get a BO 105 and then maybe stock a few parts and get it all right, super solid aircraft, not as powerful as like the 130s, 135s, 145s. But you still have that bigger rear door to put stuff in back there, which is super nice. Like a pickup truck up the sky. Super good weight capabilities and stuff on those as well. Extremely durable. Oh yeah, we just crossed OMAG. Or is OMAD the international? I don't know. OMAA, yeah, we're south of OMAA. We crossed over OMAG. OMAD is like way down there, but we're over just past Abu Dhabi here. Next one we're going over will be Oscar Mike Alpha India. And also to our southeast is Oscar Mike Alpha Mike. Oof, I slowed down to 155 there. Ew, icky. Boy, we'd already be around the world if we only used the 160, I'll tell you that. This thing is a skadoodler. Also, going back to helicopter types and things, so Bell, they really don't have much. Like the 206L has the extra room, has the extra power, but it's older technology. And like, given the unlimited budget idea, I'd like to not have a two-blade, unless it's something like the 214. Like, giant thwopper of a helicopter. Oh, interesting. Behind me on the island. Gotcha. Or a Huey, obviously, but then you kind of like a little less practicality and stuff. Can't really take Hueys or 214s into places to treat as a daily driver. Augusta, Leonardo, their new AW09. Pretty cool. I like it. It'll kind of be competitor against the Robinson R88, but the R88 is a two-blade, and like I said, I'd like a bit of a tougher, safer, non-teetering hinged, mast bumpy blade system, just out of a personal preference. Something where I can throw some whoopsies and doodles at it and not worry about it. And as far as like, there's like a lot of their helicopters are all wheeled. The AW09 is not, which is cool. The AW119 is a skidded helicopter, or it has a skid options. The Koala, I think. Koala. I think it's probably Koala, because it's that's the Navy military designation. They use like Indian names, so Koala sounds more American Indian than Koala, but I've just always called it the Koala. It's skidded. I just don't care for the way they look. They look kind of weird. The skids aren't really like designed into it. They're just kind of like added on, kind of like the Bell 222 Bravo. Or the 222U, 222 Uniform Tango. The Bravo is the retractable gear. At Augusta, CH-53s? Interesting. My, actually, one of my friends texted me who does airport things, and he just texted me some pictures of CH-53s. At Augusta, question mark? So we'll see what he says. But yeah, so the 119's Koala would be cool. I think they're great helicopters. They just kind of look weird. There's like an STC for like a better looking skid system that would make it like more looking like the Hill Helicopters HX50 skidded model. That would be sick. Also, obviously, the Hill. If they do what they say they're doing, which I do believe. I know Tom was kind of having a hard time thinking that, but I do believe Hill will do what they put their mind to do. I think they have probably the best team out of any helicopter company manufacturer out there. It's just a matter of time, really. It's the process of going in and developing an entirely new jet turbine engine is substantial. And for them to be at the point where they're more or less ready for a test run, can't wait. And I think, once again, like I said, they have probably the best team that's out there, even when you look at other manufacturers, because they sniped a lot of people. I think they'll have an extremely competitive helicopter, which they already have 1,000, I think like 12 or 1,300 orders for these things. And they have such a good model, too, for kind of everything, really. Obviously, a big thing for a lot of owner-operators is maintenance and insurance and stuff like that. So what they're doing, they're offering insurance through them and a maintenance program through them, where any alerts or whatever, I think Saffron does it too, called like Saffron Security or something, which Saffron makes a lot of helicopter turbine engines, like the A-Star and such. But they have it set up for the hill stuff where if you were having an issue with whatever, yeah, I believe in hill. I want to believe. Where the engine and the systems and everything do checks, and it will update hills, and they'll have a database of like how everything's going, or if like a temperature looked off or suboptimal or whatever the case is. It'll send them a message, and they can get in contact directly with you and start figuring out a plan to fix it or solve it. So now we're coming up on Oscar Mike Alpha India on this island up here. So yeah, that'll be great. And part of their insurance maintenance plan is kind of like a all expenses included sort of idea, where it's like you pay, let's just say $25,000 a year, which is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot. Aviation is not cheap. Never has been, never will. Let's just say $25,000 a year. And what that does is, let's say it's kind of like a Robinson and it needs a rebuild every 12 years or whatever hours, but let's just say 12 years or 10 years. Paying $25,000 a year for 10 years is $250,000. At that 10-year mark, you take the helicopter in and your rebuild's paid for because you've been paying that as part of your insurance maintenance plan for the time that you own it. Great idea. Fantastic idea. Of course, some people have like business insurances and stuff that will cover it and that won't be necessary, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, that's fine. But the fact that they're doing that to where people who are owners and operators, and let's be fair, if you're spending $800,000 on a helicopter, which is I think what they're trying to shoot for new costs. If you have the money to spend $800,000 to $1 million on a helicopter, I'm assuming you can option it up to be much more. You can afford $25,000 a year, or whatever that insurance cost is. You're not making this decision with a non-assumption of extra associated costs. So yeah, one of those would be great. I think their retractable gear one looks fantastic. But also I think their one with skids looks even more fantastic. So if I was getting a hill, it would be one with skids. Spirit passengers are migrating to Breeze. I mean, there's a few places where like they obviously would have to go, and that's one of them. Breeze, Frontier, kind of Southwest in some places. I hope they find a home. Not because like I did fly Spirit. I also fly other companies. But depending on timing and stuff, it's like, cool, I'll have cramped legs, or I'll do the upgrade for the Spirit First Class, or whatever. You know, it's not that big of a deal to spend an extra $100 to be comfortable for 5 hours. I think that's worth it. Like I flew Spirit to California for a meeting one time. It was a one-day meeting. Go up there, I was only really needed in California for like 2 hours at this place. But I flew in it, like landed at midnight, did a hotel room, woke up at 8 or 9, and drove to this place to be there at 10 or 10:30 or something. Was out of there by noon. And then I went and drove the canyons all afternoon. Then drove back through town, stopped and had one of the best, not gyro. What's the pancake thing? Crepe. One of the best crepes of my life. For some reason, I was just craving crepes. Couldn't tell you why, but I was. And I'm not a sweet crepe sort of person. I'm a savory crepe sort of person. And yeah, had an extremely good crepe. I saved that restaurant because I'm going to go back one day. And it's not even a sit-down restaurant. It's kind of like in like a little bitty strip mall on a busy road, and not really a parking lot. You order at the window, you get your stuff, and you can eat there or eat in the car. It was so good. I might have just been hungry. Also, I ate at the restaurant from the original Fast and Furious movie. The one that they go to after they race the Ferrari. And that was like order number 420 for the day. I saved the receipt just because I thought it was funny. Atlas, American, Air Force, and Delta are the only characters I've ever flown. Well, it sucks that you never did Spirit. Which I guess military charters are good too. Because you get, if they're not like actually using a military plane, like you do get features and amenities of whatever flight attendants or whatever, and just like quality of plane. Yeah, like Spirit, they had nicer, newer planes. I think the upgrade system was fair. I never flew with checked luggage, so I never had to worry about that. It was always just like a small carry-on bag or something where it could all fit inside my backpack, so I didn't have to worry about any extra like luggage fees. Like I said, I'd always pay for like the extended leg room or the first class tickets, which weren't a lot. It was not bad, and it wasn't first class. It was just like, cool, it's a 2x2 seating instead of a 3x3 seating, you know, so you get a little bit more shoulder room, a little bit more leg room. Not like you were getting caviar while people behind you. It's like you could still feel the fight happening behind you. Yeah, they weren't bad. It just got bad because of the people. And then, like, well, McDonald's came out today and it was like, hey, we're no longer going to have self-serve soda because they'll have like a change of customer preference or something like that. And what that basically means is you people are stealing from us, so we're taking away the privilege that you had. Your high trust society is dying. And then there's a Walgreens or whatever in like one city, and the regulars of the city are talking about suing Walgreens for corporate abandonment. It's like, you stole everything from this store, and you want to sue them for leaving you? If you were going broke somewhere, you would leave if you had the possibility. Your cousin has flown on Spirit? Like I said, could it be bad? Sure. But I never had a bad experience. It's like Waffle House. It's like you can go to Waffle House and like 999 times out of 1,000, you're going to show up, you're going to get your food. Or let's say this, 800 times out of 1,000, you're going to go there, you're going to get your food, it's going to be way better than you expected it to be, and you're going to go home happy. 199 times out of those 1,000, you're going to go there, or no, 150 times out of that 1,000, so that brings us to 950, 150 times, you're going to go there, the food's going to be about what you expected, but not bad. 49 times, you're going to go there and the food's going to be less than what you expected. And one of those times that you go there, the food's going to be great, but there's going to be a fight. And that's Spirit. Dang, we lost McDonald's. Who would have thunk? So yeah, Spirit Airlines, 80% good, 15%, or 80% better than what you expected, 15%, okay, it was kind of what I expected, 4.9%, oof, that was kind of eh, and 1%, good flight, but there was a fist fight. But it's also like then your experience with the other Waffle House goers is something to be accounted for as well. Either way, it wasn't as bad as what people said, but I also had very limited experience. So, take it as you will. I'm sorry, I'm going to claim that. Or did you know it was coming and you just couldn't see it? Or were you distracted? This time it flew over your hizzy as it was leaving Robbins. Okay. I'd almost like to go... Were they Omaha? Or is that the B2? I'd like to go where they're based one day. Just to watch them departing out, you know? Because it's such a wild plane compared to like what we're used to seeing. Sort of distracted. Well, you got the stream up and you're simming, so. With that said, ATR just took out a CSG. I have a notification through Flight Radar 24 for the registration. Didn't notice the notification. Ah. Gotcha. Another man of class running notifications for certain things on Flight Radar. I used to do like emergency squawks, but then I realized it got really, really annoying because there's a lot more of those than I expect, or than I expected. Yeah, part of me kind of wants to know. Got to know when something takes off. Yeah, exactly. So part of me kind of wants to do the Noel Phillips thing. Which for anybody that's watching this later, right now it's just me and you in here. Or there's a third person. Hello, third person. I'd kind of like to do the Noel Phillips type thing where I go around and do like different or unique flights, but he seems more or less to be doing it as like unique destination, unique trip, or unique like situation based sort of things, which I get it. That's cool. That's fine. That's his thing. I enjoy traveling. Lots of Spirit A321neos got flown out to Phoenix today. Oh, that's not a good sign. Phoenix, that's the graveyard. Everything that goes to the desert to die. Well, Tucson has more of a graveyard, but that's the military graveyard. Something. Oh yeah, so Noel, he does a lot of B-52 in Shreveport. Okay, so Shreveport, not that bad. But I would like to do some flights specifically for the type of airplane it is. To kind of like knock off aircraft, which I guarantee that somebody else does this. So it's not a new idea. It's just not something I watch. But I know people do the stuff where they try to go fly every type of airplane. And I know there's somebody who does it on YouTube. I've never seen it, couldn't tell you, I've never looked it up. It's not what I want to watch. But I think the fact that I don't watch it means I could probably create extremely unique content around that, because I'm not trying to copy somebody else. Because inevitably, whenever you do something online, or you do anything really, you somewhat copy what other people do. Whether it's like 1% or 50 or 100% copy. Like, look at Casey Neistat for an example. For anybody unfamiliar, he was like, there were people who did daily vlogging before he did. But when he started doing it, he had such a unique style and take and charisma and storytelling style, the way he did it. It reshaped the way that everybody in the world does vlogging. And that's not under or overstating it. I think you can just about ask anybody, like, cool, where'd you pick up this, like anybody who does vlogging, like small to large, cool, where'd you pick up this style of vlogging, or why do you do this? Even if they don't name him, whoever they name, and whoever they name, whatever, it all traces back to him. So he just changed it because he has such a unique way of filmmaking. He had like a HBO show that he did, but even that was like him and his brother with a camcorder. It wasn't like professional HBO production, whatever. It was their own unique style of making stuff. And yeah, he rewrote the rules when it came to vlogging. Like every trend you see now, people walking around with like DSLR cameras on the Gorilla Pods with a huge mic on top, and you think, oh wow, that's excessive, why can't it just be that? Casey did it. And yeah, I loved watching his vlogs back when he did them regularly. But I mean, he made 13, 15 million subs, something like that. Plenty of money in the bank, plenty of brand deals, plenty of businesses and entrepreneurial adventures that he started, where he doesn't have to vlog anymore. He'll post a video on social media stuff every once in a while, but he made his money so he doesn't have to be in the public eye as much as before. So not a lot of people know who he is nowadays. But yeah, so he changed everything. And there is one point that stood out to me with him where his older brother, who's arguably more talented, which even Casey admits that, Casey's wife admits that, because he even asked her, he's like, Candace, who's the most talented Neistat brother? And she's like, oh, that's Van. Anyways, Van lives in the mountains north of San Francisco, or the mountains north of LA, somewhere out in California guy. But anyways, he started a YouTube channel afterwards, and he'd posted a video, whatever. And Casey, like, shouted out his brother, and he's like, I think you should watch Van, because the thing about him is, me and him made film type things back in the day, whatever their style of film was. But he's like, he doesn't watch YouTube. He's never had a YouTube account. He's never watched any of my videos. He's never watched any YouTube videos ever. He's just a guy that figures stuff out on his own, and he never watched anything beforehand. And he's like, but he saw me having fun. Said, hey, I should do that. I know how to create little short films and stuff, so I'm going to do that. So Van started his own channel, and the way Casey had talked about it, or whatever, was it might be the best YouTube channel out there because he has no influence of other people's YouTubes. Of course, it's very much feeling like Casey's channel just because of their creation style goes back to working together like 20 years before, you know? Van wasn't doing stuff, he wasn't trying to be flashy, he was doing stuff because he liked the way that he was doing it. And it showed in it, like, even though it felt Casey-esque, which by default then felt like every other vlogger, he wasn't doing vlogging, he was doing like making, fixing, creating things sort of videos. But they were just so good. Which he still posts, not as often, but it was... And like you said, nothing is original. But the way that he portrayed his videos, even if like the things he was doing wasn't original, his creation style and the fact that it was untainted by what was popular was original. And I really, really like that. I like that a lot. And that's something I've kind of attempted to do, or at least I like to tell myself mentally that I'm doing. It's like, even though like I'm on my days that I'm not streaming this month, I'm going to try to post a video, whether it be like a how to start video, because that's easy, quick for me to do whatever on a busy day. Even though I've still got like the, hey guys, make sure to like and subscribe, whatever, like just like everybody else. And also it's not like a crazy new form of media. It's like, hey, I'm getting to the point, you know. I wanted to be that, and there's like one of the videos on my channel about the shop build. I kind of did it in my own unique way. Like there was things I would change, obviously, but at the end of the day, I want to make something because I enjoy making it, and I don't want to make anything specifically because it's what's cool. That ex-Cessna that just left CSG only has 2 photos, and both of them were taken at CSG. Oh, nice. Both on March 17th, 2012. It's time for an update on that thing. Goodness. There's probably a few more bug splatters on it now. Is that ATR? But yeah, so I want to do which I'm already behind that curve of everything I just yapped about. But like a Noel Phillips inspired sort of travel thing. But I want to do unique planes. Like, oh cool, I rode on an A320. Oh cool, I rode on a 737-200 or whatever. Like, those don't excite me until you get to like some big boy wide body sort of things. Or like some super small stubby old ones, like last one in the fleet flying sort of things. So I that's something I would like to do. Obviously I'd have much better success doing that if I just did it as its own channel, but I'm not going to. Because this channel's already like, cool, building a shop, doing things, flying simulator, helicopter, and I've got other stuff, things that you wouldn't expect me to post planned, and like I said, I'm writing scripts and stuff for that now. But I don't really want to lock this channel down into one particular thing, because then I'm doing it because somebody else is wanting me to do that one particular thing. Which, not the best for having a successful channel, because most successful channels I feel are like very focused on one topic or one thing. But, yeah, screw them. Don't care. It's multi-shop map because I am multi-shop. And my friend said, yes, those were taken in Augusta. CSG used to have an air show that brought a lot more people down there. I don't know. Air show is such a weird business. Like, obviously there's money to be made. But also, like, how many air shows can you create? Or not create, but how many air shows can exist in a single year in the same state where they don't start stepping on each other's toes? Because there are people like me and you who see air show, cool, it's on a week that I can make it, and it's close enough to where I can drive. I'm going to do everything I can to go to it. But I feel like the 95% people aren't. Like, I mean, y'all drove up to Peachtree City for that air show. And, like, I feel like if there was a, like, northern Florida one, I'm sure Tallahassee probably has one. Pensacola's a bit far, but I feel like that's still something where if it's like the big Blue Angel Pensacola show, I feel like normal people, and that's derogatory towards the normal people, not us. Abnormal's the right way to be. But I feel like most normal people, if it's a big enough show, like, they'll go to Pensacola instead of opting for something that might be smaller at CSG. Does that make sense? It's just like me with, like, the whole gun stuff in movies and TV shows or whatever. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, I could complain about people not using the right guns or the right tactics or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, 95+% of the people watching it don't care. They see a person holding a rifle. It doesn't matter if it's a black airsoft rifle with no accessories on it, or like a legitimate, as spec'd out as accurately as it can be sort of thing. Like, at that point, it doesn't matter to 95% of the people. So I feel like most interest things kind of lean that way. And I'm sure there's stuff outside of, like, air shows and guns. I just that's the limit of my interest. So, I mean, big car shows and stuff too. Some people will try to make it to all of them. But I'm not going to a car show that's outside of my state. And if it's like the same car show, like, there used to be one called Nopi Nationals, which would kind of bounce around like one a month for like 4 or 5 months, like over the summer. And they would do it like different places around the country. There would be a few people that would travel to all of them. But if there was like a Nopi Nationals that was happening in Atlanta one week, and then like 2 months later another one in Valdosta, then 2 months later another one in Macon, then 2 months later another one in Gainesville, and 2 months later another one in Columbus, like, I wouldn't go to all of them because I'd be seeing the same cars. I'd be seeing the same show. And I'm a car guy, but I wouldn't do that just because it's Would I watch fighter jets do stuff every day? Yes, but that's also expensive. One, to go to the show, it's expensive. You know, we get the good sit in the chair, kind of out front seats. You know, it's not cheap. It's not expensive, but it's not cheap. But then it's like, okay, cool, I'm only there for effectively 20 minutes of the show. Because the like the GSP helicopter demo and the Army Aviation Heritage Foundation helicopter demo was exactly the same demo that I saw last year. Nothing different. Exactly the same thing. Maybe even the same pilots for all that I know. Like, P-51, cool, neat to see, good sound. The old Warbirds, cool, neat to see, good sound. But the fighter jets, like, cool, that's something unique. Like, you don't see those every day unless you live near it. Like the Warbirds, a lot of those Warbirds actually, like, live kind of locally. Like, they don't, a lot of these people don't fly over all over the country. Some of them do. But a lot of them are just, like, cool locals that got their air show license and happen to have restored their own, and they'll go do it. So it's like, you're getting the same thing 4 times a year. It was a military show. Yeah, true. I know Warner Robins used to do a show. They may still do. I just haven't looked at it in a while. But I think a lot of the military hosted shows kind of died off because they would have to let people on base. And if it's an air show, like pre 9/11, I feel like I went to a couple of Warner Robins shows. But post 9/11, I feel like they're really, really tight on security. Even though Bush did 9/11, now this video is demonetized and hidden. But they want more security showing. And it's hard to, like, vet 30,000 people coming onto a base. Warner Robins stopped it, but oh, it's coming back? Nice. That'll be one to go to then. I'm bummed. So I think this happened I know it happened last year. But I think it was one where we tried to meet up. The vintage days up at Peach State Aerodrome. They're not doing it this year, which sucks. But, like, I would love to fly to, like, a fly-in or an air show. Which most air shows, obviously, there's a TFR. Not allowed in. Sorry, bud. Tough luck. But, like, a lot of the TFRs aren't active until later. Or until, like, the air show's starting. So, like, normal planes will still come in and land until, like, an hour before the show or something like that. April 16, 2027, Thunder over Central Georgia. Interesting. Yeah, that'll be cool to go to. I feel like they can get away with more since it'll be at a military base. Okay, so let's see. What's this route look like right here? Kinda water crossing-y-ish. What I'll do, I'll just direct down to that area. More or less following this road, just that way we're not having to, like, go over a bay, and we're only doing, like, effectively like a 19 miles, 2 mile, like a 2 mile detour just to fly a little bit more to the south. Ground speed 171, scooting. Unless that's an airport I wanted to go to. Yeah, that is an airport I wanted to go to. So we are going to kind of go this way. I think it's not. So yeah, we're going to do a fuel stop real quick here. I'm at 2/3 of a tank, but if I top off, we should be able to make it all the way to destination. So Oscar Mike Alpha Hotel is where we are heading. We're about halfway there. Didn't prepare. Yeah, Oscar Mike Alpha Hotel is where we're going into. maximum speed. Watch your mouth, lady. Literally nobody asked. Working our way in. Came in high, so you're going around. Cool. I'm swinging in kind of fast, so. But I'm in a helicopter, so I can just like stop and turn around. Helicopter privilege, you know. And look, I'll even sidestep a little bit for you. I'll take the taxiway. I'm landing with a mild tailwind too. Oh, so last Saturday I took my friend up in the R22. Did a 1.1 hour flight with him. And it was funny. Coming around the last bit, I could see that we were at an hour, and he was like, hey, I don't want to, like, pro rata for 1 hour or whatever. So I was trying not to come too much out of my own pocket, you know? And as we're on the downwind for 2-4, I'm getting about abreast of the numbers. We're 500 feet. Standard pattern stuff, you know? Our standard helicopter pattern, airplane pattern is usually 1,000 feet. Anyways. Dang, what a good looking shadow right there, boys. I'm not going to go all the way to the tanks over there. Just because I don't want the tablet to be like, hey. See, there's parking brake on. Let me click my fuel button, add fuel. And since you are significantly faster, I'm going to go ahead and zaboop out of here. Especially because I don't need an FBO or anything right now. But anyways, we're like 500 feet abreast the numbers on the approach into 2-4. And there's nobody in pattern. And I played pretty close to the runway. Like, we weren't too far to the north of the runway. So I was just like, Speedway Traffic Helicopter 74606 is on a short base to final for runway 24. And I kind of did like a quick altitude dump, like 180 in. Almost like a 180 auto, but not an auto. But yeah, it felt nice being there, like, okay, cool, I'm in a helicopter. I'm kind of allowed to do 60 knot direct crosswind. Look, the TBM's not a small plane. If you're in a 152, I'd be like, okay, I'd have some sympathy. A TBM is an absolute unit. Well, I got a head start now. You got to catch up, which I don't think is going to be hard to do. Yeah, it felt cool because, like, so much of the flying done with instructors and whatever, which most of my flying is with instructors. Just because getting the license and then wanting to get more licenses anytime I do flight typically is with one. But when I take friends for rides, it's nice to, like, okay, cool, I'm just going to take off from the taxiway here. Because instructors, you're kind of like doing things by the book to make sure they're happy or whatever. Rarely will they just be like, hey, taxiway, take off. And TBM is small single engine. Yeah, but it cruises at 35,000 feet and like a good pace too. There are smaller twin engines So, anyways, it's nice to fly with friends and with family and with non-instructors. Not that it's like me acting reckless or anything. So anybody else that's listening, I'm not a reckless pilot. But the whole reason I like helicopters is because they're so diverse and capable. And if I need to go fly a mile away from the runway, then turn around and do a base, then turn and do a mile approach in and stuff, it's like, or 2 mile or 3 mile, 5 mile final and stuff, which is necessary sometimes for instrument approaches. If you're flying an instrument helicopter, understood. But the cool thing about the helicopter, like, I've done approaches like just from the north over the trees, coming over the trees and like stopping in the grass north of the runway, waiting for the runway to be clear, and then just taxiing over, which I would go direct to the ramp. But when there's airplanes in pattern, the airplane traffic's always over the ramp side at Speedway. So I don't do direct ramp there. And isn't it this weekend that you said that you're riding? I think you said this weekend. TPM has a big vertical stabilizer compared to fuselage, catches wind. Gotcha. Just take a pocket knife out there and cut her down. Simple enough. So what I may do, I may ask my father if he wants to go for a ride and split fuel or split rental. Let's see, what's the calendar look like? Wait, did you say this weekend or the 6th? Because the 6th is tomorrow. I think you said this weekend. 9th? Yeah, this weekend. Okay, yeah, I see your message there. But if he would be in there, because he wants to do Pine Mountain at some point, but also I know he wants to fly over our home area now, which is not that direction. I may go down there and see if I can do a rental at the time that you're going to be down there. And if anything, then you just do like 2 flights in a day. 9th. So yeah, no promises. If not, I still owe you a ride regardless. But I'd like to fly again. Pine Mountain's not terrible, but I do know Dad wants to fly over the Pine Mountain area. From 10 to 3. And you'll probably be out there, yeah, full day. I figured you want to be spotting all that because it's guaranteed action, so you'd be out there. What's ground speed? 181. What a beautiful machine. Love it. I'm also kind of in a dive there, so. And you can really tell you're in a dive because of the blade chop. Weird. Wonder why I did that. 2024 had a C-130 flyover this year. Ooh, nice. I mean, I feel like they're close enough to, was it Benning? Down there, and kind of close to Warner Robins, too, to where, like, any of the pilots or people kind of in it would be in the know enough to be like, hey, there's going to be a cool fly or a cool airport thing going on here. I'm sure everybody out there would love to see a cool jet or plane fly over, so. Yeah, what I'll do after this, or tomorrow or something, I'll look at the rentals and see what the rental schedule looks like, and kind of knock out a little flight plan just to see how long it is down there. Like, I want the hours anyways, obviously. But I don't know if I want them as cross-country hours, or if it's far enough for me to classify it as a cross-country that would be commercial for my commercial license. Because you don't have to do those with a instructor. It's just like, cool, you have to do a cross-country that's X amount of miles from your starting point, whatever. Came from Dobbins. Full throttle formation, Team RVs. So pretty popular day down there is what you're saying. Yeah, so I'll look at their stuff online and see if there's any, like, information for pilots that want to fly in for the day, or if it's going to be something that's too busy. I don't know, we'll see. Like I said, if not, I know you're going to be at Speedway again, or back at Falcon Field, or where you get around. You go many places, so. And plus side, at least you're kind of local. Because if I had, like, my one regular person who, like, always comes in and hangs out, like, I would always want to give that person a ride anyways, you know? Just because it's nice to have somebody in here yapping with me and supporting the channel and being a homie. But if you lived, like, Alaska or something, like, dang, now I gotta figure out a way to go rent a helicopter in Alaska to give somebody a ride. At least you're, like, somewhere nearby to where it's not horrible. I'm seeing some random planes coming in and out. Yeah, but as long as it's not like a by-the-book air show day, they usually don't TFR or anything like that, so. I'm going to zoom out on here. I don't need it to be this zoomed in. I'm going to start turning to the right a little bit. I wonder what that place is. It looks like the wrong building, but it's got a unique shadow. Maybe a wind turbine? I'm curious who the third person that keeps popping in here is. No TFR? Yeah, so it's probably just open. It's like, hey, it'll be a busy day. So, mind yourself. Mind your manners. What do you think, Naughty Lane? Did we ever come up with a name for her? I know it's Naughty Lane, but like a Maria or something, because she looks kind of Hispanicish. I feel like that was it. Dude, imagine how easy around the world in an airplane would be. Like an airplane with like a Cessna or Piper like control quadrant set up to where you could just like set it, trim it, and just like relax. Flew too low. Skidded the sand. Cool. Pulled up and stalled since the friction. Did you use your engine to accelerate later? You should have flown higher. Yeah, I think the 940s, 950s have enough takeoff power to where even if you were like stall speed, you could pull out of it as long as you weren't at like a ridiculous angle. I mean, also, if you take back off from where we were just at, you've got the speed to catch up, so. Nope, crashed. Yeah, so you can also call that a night if you want to. You do a lot anyways. You should never feel like the need, like, oh man, I gotta stay in here and be the one person in his stream. No, not necessary. But if you're respawning, I will gladly keep you as company. Oh, EBT. EBT, not in my house. EBT. Oh, okay, I see that up there. Gotcha. Head me into the Rizite. So 172 over the ground right here. Also switch to an A10. Appropriate. We are in the desert. Do the desert things. I look forward to flying something like this one day and doing 160 knots airspeed, like 170 over the ground or whatever, in a helicopter, because I'm so used to doing 100 knots less than this. I mean, it was already cool in the 44, just like cruising at 100 where it wasn't a big deal. That's your second crash? We gotta get you a better sim. What is my Xbox? Do I even have it out here still? I don't even have it set up out here anymore. I think mine's not the new Gen 1. I think it's like an Xbox One, but it's not like a 1S or 1X. It's like one of the old first ones. First one ones. Were you in control of the 44? Yeah, that was when I did my 144 lesson that I've done. That was back in February? March? It was either late February or early March, something like that. I believe. It was before we did all the big helicopter stuff with that short thing that I worked on with the Black Hawk and everything. Because there was a chance that he was going to let me fly the A-Star. Or actually, I had the offer to meet him in Huntsville and fly the A-Star back from Huntsville. But I had to work that day. I was ready to buy a plane ticket, ready to go. But I had to work, and I could not say no to work. Work was way too important. Just because it was so slow for me this year, I couldn't say no to money, which sucked. But yeah, I wanted to have like some experience in something other than an R22 before that, so I did a 1.3 or 1.4 hour lesson in the R44. And we actually flew and went and landed next to the A-Star that I had the possibility to fly. And talked to them for a little bit because they were at a mansion that has a private airstrip in the helipad, so we went out there. But I'd like to finish up the 44. I mean, it's only like 3.7 more hours. The downside is $600 an hour, so $2,500-ish bucks. About, maybe more, because I think that's the bulk price. So, not buying the hours in bulk, $2,500-ish is probably what it will take me to get the appropriate amount of R44 hours to be legally allowed to be a PIC of it, because I have to have 5. And I don't know if that's what the rental threshold would be for Tier 1. They may have like a 10-hour minimum in a helicopter to take it out on a rental or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, I feel like what I'll do with it, because the flying's not hard. Flying's extremely easy. I feel like what I'll do, yeah, money's a good thing. I feel like what I'll do is, I started doing it. Or did I start doing it, or did I start watching? I started watching it because it's on YouTube. I wanted to see what it looked like, but I think Austin, or I think the guy that was flying with us over India and into Pakistan the other day, where we couldn't see his helicopter. I think he told me about it, but there's like I got my instrument rating in the sim here, but their instrument is just so crap. It's like, okay, cool, like fly wings level, make a turn. Like nothing, you know? But there's like an actual instrument class that somebody made as like a third-party add-on, where it's like 10 to 15 hours of flying and classing and stuff like that. So I feel like, and it's only like, I think he said like $50 or something, which is well worth it. Or whatever, even if it's like $300, it's worth it. But I feel like I want to get that. I need to look back through the Discord messages and see what that was. But I want to get that and do that. I'll have to fly airplane stuff with the sim controls a little bit. Fine, whatever. But I want to kind of treat it the same way that I did my private, which was basically have all the classwork done. The less that I have to sit with an instructor in a room and pay them, the better. No offense to Brett or Aiden or Sebastian or any of them, but I have a very unique way of learning, which is probably not unique. I'm a very working on something mentally and on my own, and being able to force myself into things and realize things and whatever. That's the way my head works. So I would like to do something like that to at least get 80% of the way there. That way, the next time I do my 44 class, I can just say like, hey, I want to fly the 44, but I want to do it for instrument. That way I'll be learning 44 but learning instrument at the same time, so I'm kind of getting double the rate, because the flying's not hard. Like, the biggest thing I need to do, I need to print off a 44 POH for the Raven 2, because I think that's the one that we have at Hampton right now. And like, memorize power, memorize emergency procedures, like limitations, stuff like that, because that's the important stuff you need to remember. When you're jumping from aircraft to aircraft, it's like, okay, cool, the flying's all the same, but some systems, and electrical systems and mechanical systems, are different in different vehicles, so you need to have some sort of knowledge of the differences, because how to fix an alternator light or how to address that in a 44 might be completely different than a 22, although it's probably around the same thing. But it's also like the 44 is a fuel injected one, and their power rating works different, where I can pull like an additional 2.5 inches of manifold for up to 5 minutes as far as takeoff power, versus on the 22 it's like 0.9 more, or add 1.5 if you have carburetor heat on. So there's little things like that where you're like, it's nice to know the difference between the two, so what you can do. Like, I mean, if I'm coming into a landing and it's like, man, I just don't have the power to like hover. Of course, that's not really a thing down at this elevation. It's like, oh no, wait, I'm in a 44. I have more power. I can pull more manifold pressure here. And then I would have enough power to out of ground effect hover or recover or whatever the situation is, you know. So I need to get a 44 POH printed off. And once I get that, then I can start studying that a little bit and doing the instrument stuff my own, and start doing instrument stuff with them. Because while renting the 22 is nice, because it's only $400 an hour, whatever, the 600 or the R44 is like $600 an hour. But I can take 3 people with me. So if I have 4 persons, myself included, splitting the cost of a $600 rental for like friends going out or whatever, that's $150 per hour for me. If I do it in the 22, which is $400, it's $200 an hour for me. So the 44 is a little bit cheaper if you're filling the seats. If you just have 2 people riding with you, it's the same cost as the 22. But then you also have better range, better capabilities, more power, more seating. It's just a better quality air conditioning. That's cool. So, you know, it'd be nice to get cleared up in the 44. Because then there's nothing stopping me from taking the 22 out. If it's just me riding, you know, then, like, sure, I pay the $400 an hour for the 22. But if I have friends that want to go, then why not take the 44? It opens up that option. Or if I just have one friend that wants to go, then we take the 22. Or they're of weight. Some of my friends are heavier. One of my friends, a pretty consistent weightlifter. He's like 220 pounds, but it's not fat, it's muscle. And me and him can't go in the 22 just because of weight and balance and everything. So, bigger dunes over there to the right, that's for sure. Some sort of mountainous things. Yeah, those are mountainous things. So yeah, getting cleared up in the 44 would be nice. It's just a matter of me throwing up that extra $3,000 starting right now to get that little bit of remaining time. But then again, I could also bring somebody with me during the training. So if I have somebody that just wants to ride along and get a helicopter ride, but sit in the back seat while I go through learning instrument and getting an extra hour, then I can cut that cost a little bit and be at $300 an hour. So like there's ways. It's just a matter of me figuring out what I want to do and how I would like to do it. Also, eventually, when I get CFI, which I'm going to go after CFI and double I eventually. But once I have CFI, I don't know if I want to be a full-time instructor. I think I'll put my name in the ring at Tier 1 if they'll take me. Because it's kind of like I can make my own schedule sort of thing. Especially if they have somebody else that's like considered full-time. So that'd be a nice way to get hours and do stuff and help out on things. But I don't want to be an instructor because like they don't make that much money. But you kind of need it to get the hours, you know. But yeah, if you haven't already taken the plunge into helicopters from me changing your mind on their superiority, then your discovery flight's on me. So they kind of, well, there's no type rating. So type rating is only for complex aircraft or aircraft over a certain weight. So there's no type rating for the 22 or the 44. What's different with the 22s and the 44s is a thing called the SFAR-73, which is like Special Flight and Rules or something like that. And the SFAR-73 is just a mandated course, class, and requirements from the FAA, which I think I've just reiterated that. The FAA mandated this FAA thing that's required by the FAA. Anyways, SFAR-73 is just like, hey, you're flying a helicopter that has a relatively low inertia rotor system. So it's like, if we were to lose engine, you have to get the collective down within like 1.5 seconds. Or you could be to an unrecoverable sort of like blade stall speed. And not like retreating blade stall, like blade stall in an auto rotation where you're not picking up rotor RPM and you're dropping rotor RPM, so you're falling like a brick. So it's like, you can take your hand off the collective sometimes if you're doing something, typing or whatever, but like, you need to have it on there because if something happens, you got to go down. You got to catch that in the emergency. Also, in the SFAR-73, which you can look this up, it's about mast bumping and like no low G pushovers or anything like that. So it kind of covers like keeping the rotor system loaded as you're piloting and whatever. That's all covered in SFAR-73. You cannot have anybody control a Robinson helicopter, at least 22 and 44, I assume maybe the same with the 66, unless they have taken the SFAR-73 course, which is just like a 30-minute instructor talks with you about things and make sure you understand what's going on. So like, even if I was a CFI and you were somebody who comes to me for like a discovery flight, or me, like, or even me and you as friends or whatever, I cannot legally let you control a Robinson helicopter. If I was in an MD-500, if I was in a little Schweitzer, if I was in a Cessna or whatever, sure, grab the controls, I'll ride along with you and I'll let you left, right, forward, back, whatever. I cannot legally let anybody manipulate the controls of a Robinson helicopter unless they have passed an SFAR-73 course. Or they have an SFAR-73 certification, approval, whatever, on their in their logbook. It's like, even though I've given my friends rides and stuff, given my dad rides, and he's a fixed wing pilot and stuff, like, sorry, you're not wiggling the stick. I can take it off to where it's single controls. You're not wiggling the stick. Sorry. And usually I leave the sticks on there just because I hate the idea of taking something away from them. And it's like, oh man, if I have a heart attack or something, like, my friends are smart. There's a chance they can put us on the ground. And they're all mechanically sound enough to be like, okay, cool. Like, I understand up, down, left, right, whatever. I feel like they could do like a running landing-ish. And then throttle down. So I don't like the idea of taking their controls away to where they couldn't do anything. But I also don't foresee myself having a heart attack. So it's kind of a, I've left the duals in with everybody I've given a ride so far. None of them have touched the controls though. Or manipulated the controls while we were flying. Like, I let my dad feel how heavy the collective was on the ground. So he could like see like, oh cool, it's not just like not like my sim here, because he's messed around on the sim a little bit. So it's not like you can just like take your fingers here and kind of do this with it. It's more force in it. And he's like wiggle the controls like on the ground before running, so he can like see where the blades move and everything. And I'm like talked about gyroscope for precision and kind of like base modeled him. Yeah, I feel like anybody who has a general idea of how they're supposed to work could land a helicopter. Especially if you're not trying to hover. You may stuck it like right in the dirt or right in the sand to where maybe you collapse a gear or something like that. But I feel like most people, if you watch my stream, obviously, you should have enough of an understanding of what the controls do and the process needed to get on the ground safely. And if not completely safely, like, walk away from the accident safely. Like, I'm confident I can land a plane, but I'm not confident, like, in steering at speed. Differential braking, like an aggressive crosswind or something. Like, I think I could figure it out. I think I understand how it works, and I've messed around in airplane things, like in this sim and like other people's setups that they've had, enough to where, like, pretty sure I got a good grasp on what's going on. But also there's a chance that I'm going to stuff it, or collapse a gear, or smack it down too hard, or wild risky flare, or whatever. I can land any airplane to a walk away point. I'll put it like that. I'm confident with that. Like landing tailwheel, maybe I'll stuff the brakes too hard if I've never manipulated them before, and I'll nose up. Don't know. Couldn't tell you. It's so far outside of my wheelhouse, so far outside of my cockpit, that I couldn't tell you. But I would like to do like an airplane discovery flight soon, just to see. With that said, I do have a friend who is a CFI. And she's up in LZU, Lawrenceville. Although I'm not sure. Like, I feel like she would do an even exchange if I could let her fly the Robinson, but also I can't SFAR her. And she can't SFAR herself because she's not an approved helicopter instructor. So. Sure, you can take off, move around a little bit, then land, maybe. Fixed wings are easier to fly. Oh yeah, fixed wings are easier to fly for sure. When my dad flies the helicopters on the sim the few times he's tried, he's always like, it just kind of feels like I'm floating. And I'm like, you are. Technically you are floating. If you were flying lower, you would have a better sense of, motion and movement. But yeah, the picking up and the hovering of the helicopters it was easy for me because I religiously did this for months before going for my discovery, like 7 months before I did my discovery flight. So I felt extremely confident going into my discovery flight. But I don't know what somebody who's never done it or had to move their hands in the correct way and their feet in the correct way to make it happen. Just like, did you ever watch the Smarter Everyday thing? The first one he did on helicopters? Anyways, I think he was talking about auto rotations and stuff like that, but he went to go to helicopter lessons just because it was like good for the video to be like, talk about it, maybe experience, whatever. And, Destin, super smart guy. But he was like, I understand what my hands and my feet are supposed to do. But he was still having a problem hovering it because it's just, it doesn't feel natural, you know, until you hit like the muscle memory or whatever. And then he eventually got it. He was like, one day it just like clicked with him, kind of like his riding the bicycle with the backwards handlebars. Fixed wings are easy to fly. It's like driving a car, except you turn on the ground with your feet. Yeah, I figured that. I figured tailwheel would be a lot easier to ground loop if something went wrong. And the steering wheel, you roll. Oh yeah, I got the controls of the planes. It makes sense. Like you said, it's like driving a car. I just don't know like how stout the steering is because I'm used to helicopter pedals. So like I understand the authority of that under taxiing speeds, which I don't think it'll be hard to pick up. It's just like the unknown. Like I never know until I try it. But the thing about the steering that scares me is like, okay, cool. Like if I was doing a bigger plane, obviously it'd be more of an issue. But like takeoff speeds and steering with your feet on something that's kind of top heavy is like, woo, okay. Wait, what? Palm Beach Airport it's now a Trump port. God. Why? What was wrong with Palm Beach Airport? I mean, I guess, what? There's George W. Bush International Airport. Isn't that Texas? Like Fort Worth or something? Or no, Dallas. But Dallas, Fort Worth, same thing. Or Houston? Is Houston George W. Bush? I don't know. Either way, so there is that. Yeah, I'd like to do an airplane discovery flight. It wouldn't be expensive. I wonder if they would let me video it. Would that be something? Would that be an interesting? Donald J. Trump International Airport. Dude, I bet the people around there who are not right-leaning hate it. Can't wait to see all the stuff on Twitter complaining about it. Houston, yeah. So yeah, it's not unheard of. It's just like, okay. If he was like 20% less assholey and like overly confident, full of himself, I feel like he'd be a much, much better president. But because it's like everything has to be so divisive that it's just like there's too much like generating, I don't want to say generating hate, but like so many things are just like, cool, that's like only to piss off other people. Like you could just do less and everything would be so much more effective. Like renaming the Border Patrol NICE. Is it funny? Yes, it's absolutely hilarious, don't get me wrong. But also like, it didn't need to be renamed. And the fact that you're renaming it NICE just so that way the news articles will have to say NICE agents do whatever. Like, That's unnecessary, and you're just like purposefully driving divide, which is not what we need. Yeah, and his residence is just like Bush was a Texas guy, so it makes sense. And people are going to complain about it because they're like, oh my god, he's making it so full of himself. It's a dictatorship. Like, yeah, there's Bush Airport. There's a lot of things named after a lot of presidents. Y'all are just kind of upset, one, because you don't like him, and two, because it kind of like fits this whole persona of making everything about himself, which kind of is true. He does make a lot of stuff about himself. So this is the boring part of Saudi Arabia. Doesn't look like we're moving, but we're doing 167 knots over the ground. Do I have an outside air temperature gauge? 33 degrees C. It's warm. That's the bottom right there on my MFD here. Oh, 33 right there. You get back here. Yeah, it's just an airport name. Doesn't affect anything. It's just they have to see his name now for what's effectively forever, which is just going to make them unreasonably upset. But then again, Palm Beach, it's kind of a pretty big money area. And a lot of big money people lean to the right, so it's not like he has a super big anti-him in that zone, so Okay, that's my old direct 2. So we have an airport there that we're kind of bouncing off. But let me just throw a direct here. $200 miles. So hour and a half if we keep 160. And I don't think we need it. We have 2.5 hours of fuel. So I'm just going to go straight direct to. I'm going to skip this whatever airport. I'm just going to kind of turn up to a 280 heading. Yeah, and his residence definitely contributes to that too. Oh, and Kennedy Airport up in New York. What other presidential airports are there? Does Jimmy Carter have an airport down in Americus? Dude, and that whole tax thing about that residence was so crap. Like there's things when it's like obviously somebody's reaching for something that somebody did wrong. And that was like such an obvious thing where people were just like overlooking, like, oh my god, he cheated tax. Like, everybody in power has cheated taxes. I have worked loopholes. And it's not cheating, it's doing things by the book. But also to be like, cool, well this place is only worth like, what they say, like only worth like 1 million. And it's like, you can't buy like a 1/4 acre piece of property with a porta potty on it for $1 million in that neighborhood. And they're saying like his like multi-100 acre, or it's maybe not that big, but like his huge property with like a perfect golf course and like beautiful Mar-a-Lago buildings and houses and whatever. Like, yeah, it's way more. It's worth a lot of money, and they're trying to tax that stuff. Reagan, yep. It's so funny because there's obvious hate for either side doing whatever it is, whatever side's doing. Dude, being lost out here is a death sentence. Holy crap. Like, there is no surviving. If you get out, like, lost out here and you don't have water, like, you're dead. Dead. There's no... If you don't have a way to contact people and put your location out there so somebody can come find you, you are dead. Need a little bit of left pedal. Even up the trim there. Cool. Yes. This may be more boring than Australia. Or at least this little bit. There's a straight line that we're going to be crossing over to our right there. I don't know if that's just an artifact from the satellite imagery or if it's a road that cuts across. Also, seeing the roads that go through the desert out here, or through the dunes, it's wild to see some of the pictures and stuff of them sometimes, because like some of them aren't traveled that much, or if like a big windstorm comes through over the night, like they just get duned over. Yeah, Saudi Arabia is nothing. Unless you're at the coast or like a town, it's just nothing. Mountains are cool though. Cool mountains coming in, cool mountains out to the west on our way out. Like, I kind of want to go high to seek some wins, to see if we can do better than 170. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I have some leftover power. I'll just put like a 500 foot per minute climb in here and try not to kill off any airspeed, but just work to see if we can find more ground speed a little bit higher. No, I like this more than water crossing. It's as boring as a water crossing, but I like this more because like I can reference the ground and it just doesn't turn from like whitish blue sky to whitish blue water. A little bit more tailwind up here at 18. You'll check the wind barbs. I'm assuming your sim does relatively accurate live weather, because we were both getting fog. No winds over this area on wind barbs. Yeah, there's nothing checking it out here. Ain't nobody sending weather balloons up over here to see what's going on. Yeah, that definitely looks like a road. Ground speed 180. Nice. 10 knots up the rear. Hey, look, there's little things up here on the ground. Gas station, tire repair place. That's it. Maybe an aqueduct. Yeah, you can see the satellite imagery of the roads where the dunes go over it. 90. Live weather and cirrus clouds. Yeah. Barely any clouds here, not even really showing anything. Some puffies out to the north. Which I think when we took off, our destination was MVFR. For marginal visual flight rules. Our Saudi Arabia 10 indicate what they call their highways. Either way, it's a real road and not just an artifact of something. But man, that looks like a boring stretch of road. I bet they clean that dude off and do like land speed stuff out here with rich people in Bugattis and stuff. Like, why wouldn't you? We're getting high 170s up here. I'm just going to keep climbing. Might as well. At this point, I don't think we have a detriment to climbing because we have 176 nautical miles. We're doing 176 over the ground, so we have 1 hour to do this. That puts us landing at 12:30, which is about what I expected. So I was kind of iffy about making this our destination today. I was like, man, we might just have to do a short stream to go down the thing, but the H-160 is making this bearable because it's fast. It was either going to be like this, the Hawk, or the Chinook. Or the 225 if it ran right, but it doesn't, so that's out of the question. Oh, we got 1.5 wind barbs there. 185. Nice. Speed limit 55. I mean, I think the Autobahn's obviously the only unrestricted place. There used to be a, quote, unrestricted road in Montana, I believe, but they changed it. It was like, what's like prudently responsible or something like that. But then them dang liberal hippies got a hold of our road and gave us a speed limit. Or actually, I think it got changed during the oil things back in the day. Speaking of that, I can't wait for Trump to throw a national speed limit on us. Temporary pain for long-term gain. You'll head out around Trump. Oh yeah. I knew you'd be busy tonight, or have a day tomorrow of things to do. So that sounds like if you wanted to hop off during your airplane changing that you did back there, unplanned rapid disassembly. Or if you wanted to shoot ahead here at the end, it would be of no bother to me. The fact that you're here anyways right now is, yeah, it's 160 miles straight. Yeah, the fact that you're here anyways is just, it's great anyways. And always much appreciated. Like I said, these are going to happen whether somebody's watching me or not. Losing some ground speed there. Well, losing airspeed too. I just wasn't leaning into it enough. I was doing too much climb and not enough forward. I'm part of the sand now, yeah. The sand will bury it. And sandblast it back into sand. Dust to dust. Oh, also, there's a chance in a 3 weeks, 2 weeks, that I may drive down to drive down to Tampa for that like Black Hawks and Little Birds and stuff doing like the demonstration thing in the bay there. There's a good shot that that may happen. Or I may just buy a plane ticket and fly down. Seems excessive though, but with gas prices, it may be the better option. So we're kind of getting near the end of the main duny areas, and we're starting to get some different colors streaking. And some crop circles kind of out there over to the southwest. Ground speed 184, as we do. Might get down to Moody this summer. Moody's the one in Valdosta, right? I don't know, I was having a sound glitch there for a second, but it kind of sounded like I had something flapping. Weird. Also weird on this, I don't know, that's just like a different satellite taking a picture of that area and giving it a different color stripe just because it's a different time of the day or cloudy, or if it's like an engineered thing out there. Weird. Almost looks like satellite-ish. Yes, Moody's in Valdosta. Trying to find new airports to spot at. Hit every busy airport within 3.5 hours. I mean, really, it just depends on the sort of busy that you're looking for. You know, if you want small general aviation stuff, any place that has a big school at it will be busy. If you want something more unique, more private jet, privately owned planes, gotta find the nicer neighborhoods typically, or like the feeder airports to major cities. Commercial, obviously, you have to go to airports that do commercial things. Yeah, it's just all what you're looking for. Military. It's kind of given. They needed to use different sand when refilling that part. They used it all for the beach and they're like, oh crap, we took too much, we need to put some back, and it was just wet. Got contaminated with real beach sand. Also, I've never seen like real dunes before outside of like ocean beach dunes, like in like national parks and stuff like that. So I've never seen like desert dunes. And be interesting to see like how different the sand feels. Okay, cool. So we're just north of that last custom point that we were at, which was also an airport. What was it? 153 nautical miles now. Ground speed 174. Doing good. Montgomery too. You never got to Birmingham, did you? I know you were talking about it at one point, but I don't remember if you ever got out there. Also, what about a Talladega? Talladega would probably be a pretty good one to spot. Yeah, I think a desert would be cool. I know a lot of people go out there and do stuff and ruin the sand, but there's just like, what is it, the singing desert or something, where like when the sand slides down, it like vibrates the sand dune and makes like a hum sound or something. But so many people are going out there to experience that it's like putting too many like hand oils and stuff, body oils, and like contaminants in the sand, that it's like getting quieter and quieter. Which makes me think, like, cool, sand might be different in different... Obviously, it's going to be, like, different in some ways, but... Oh, yeah, especially during the race times. I mean, just like I'm sure Speedway's really, really good during the races. Yo, you got Birmingham? I just remember going through Birmingham and going to film that thing up in Jasper, Alabama. And I was just surprised by like how much I could see of that from the interstate, like riding up there. If it wasn't so busy, I'd really enjoy flying at an airport during the races. Or like just after it, just like being part of that airport atmosphere, you know. Things moving around. And coming directly off the left side now. Gonna climb and look for better. We're at 2400 now. Let's try 5. Oop, nope, that's giving us a headwind. Need to push past that. You guys wondering how I'm seeing what the winds are. If you look here on my MFD, only had one. Oh, they're quiet? I figured there'd be like a school or something there. What about Auburn? Because I know Tier 1 has a place out at Auburn. I think there's other flight schools out there as well. And also, speaking of flight schools, you could do Statesboro. I think that's where Middle Georgia University is or whatever. And they have a flight program. Those dots look so tiny on the map, but they're so big here. Done Auburn before. Head back soon. I figured it'd be a decent one there. And apparently there's a river out there that they land at with Tier 1. Which I did a lake landing the other day, which was cool. And that was at the lake just north of Speedway here. I know it's a farther drive, but have you been out to Milledgeville, Georgia? Okay, definitely off the dunes now and more to just like Badlands sort of area. Oop, I can see black stuff on the horizon out, or not horizon, but 10 miles out there, which is all that crop circling things. At Milledgeville may be good. I don't know if there's any flight schools out there. I just know the airport's pretty neat. Lawrenceville would be good, but that's up past Atlanta. Winder would be decent. I know there's a flight school up there. I was talking to a girl for a bit who was a CFI up there. Yeah, you definitely have to research Macon for busy days. A lot of people use Macon as like their Class D to go train in. So like that's the only reason we went down there for a Tier 1 was just because it's a towered airport. Controller's super nice though. I did my 3 laps and then I was about to hell. He's like, "You sure you don't want to do any more?" I was like, "Nah, dude, I'm paying for all this. I gotta use my money as smart as I can." He's like, "You sure? It's really fun over here running patterns." I was like, "I know, you're so cool, but I gotta go." He's like, "Okay, continue on course, report 5 miles out or whatever." But he did a "see ya" at the end, so I was happy with that. Cool, somehow getting good tails up here. We're at 163 and we're only doing 145, so. Oh yeah, fun controllers are the best. Like, I get that flying into Kennedy or to Atlanta, like, okay, you're busy, you're not going to have time to, like, goof around. But if it's a slower airport, like, I guarantee they are bored. Maybe not bored, but just like understimulated for a lot of the times. And then it's like, okay, cool, there's stimulation, there's 4 planes in pattern, or whatever. But I know it could be boring at some times, which would not be bueno. 180 across the ground, cool. Now wind barb is off. Yeah, getting to do the see ya made me extremely happy. That's like the first time I rode a motorcycle. I got to do like the little hands down peace sign to another motorcycle as I was passing, and they did it back. I was like, yeah, so cool. 128 nautical miles, heading of 279 is the direction we're kind of heading now, and we're traveling 180 above the ground. The further you got, the less spotting I get. 4-hour drive would be 8 hours, only yeah, true. So there's a limit to driving somewhere to go spot, and then like, cool, we drove 10 hours there, I get to spot for 2 minutes and drive 10 hours back. What was that? I was clicking around on helicopters today on Flight Radar. And sometimes when you click, it assumes you want to look at an airplane, but no, I want to look. So anyways, it clicked on an airplane, and it was a Piper Meridian. And I was like, man, that's such a cool name. Like, Piper just did good with all their names. Cherokee, even though like now I think cheap plane when I think Cherokee, is like, Cherokee's still a cool name. Meridian. Meridian's just cool. And I believe the Meridians are, I mean, obviously you have to do the Iceland jump, but Meridians are, you can cross a pond in a Meridian. I mean, you can cross a pond in a freaking Cessna. But to have one that's advertised as like intercontinental capable, like that's cool. Because I think the Cessna's like cool. You gotta throw a ferry tank or whatever in there. Seminole, Malibu, super cool name. Seminole, cool but not. I think Meridian is their coolest name. Not just like the word Meridian. Maybe that's just me. More crop circle things out here. There's an airplane somewhere. Everybody else is like 172, SR22, PC12, DA42. You know what's cool? Meridian. Make airplane names cool again. They have a Tomahawk. I feel like I've seen that. I just couldn't put my picture or put a picture to it in my head. I still think Meridian's a cooler name. It might not be like viscerally as cool as Tomahawk is. Because like, oh yeah, cool like battle weapon and tool. But Meridian just it tickles just the right way for me. Like it's to the point with Meridian where even if there's other planes that are comparable to it in the same price point, I would lean towards Meridian just to have the name Meridian. That's how much I like the name. PC-12 at home, basically. Most are in New Zealand or Europe, yeah. That makes sense why I'm not super familiar with them. They're just not regular around here. All of our gauges still looking good. Never did the weight computation because I don't care. It says we have a message, but that's just telling us to like change heading or something, so I'm not going to worry about that. And to prove it to you, we'll come out here and click. Click. Set course to 121 back. Don't care. Oh, see, that's what happens when I check messages. Why'd y'all let me do that? Meridian. Put my homies in the Meridian. Go down to the beach for the weekend. Don't do that. Now you tell me. Let my ground speed die while I'm doing all that. Gotta work us back up. Good news though, only 112 nautical miles left and we're doing 150, 160. You could have told me earlier. Savannah's not bad. And then also you can talk the family into like making a weekend out of Savannah. It's a cool town anyways. Leave on a Friday, go out there, do some spotting on Saturday, and you could do that and have plenty of time to like enjoy River Street. Wow, River Street, and everything else around there. Savannah's just a nice place. Get out to a Jekyll Island or something too. Busy enough to see enough in 2-3 hours. Nah, dude. Convince the family to make that a weekend. Savannah's worth it for a weekend. Especially like if it's a good weekend out there, like a good Saturday or good Sunday or something. Like, go out there, spot Saturday morning or Sunday morning, and then you just have the rest of the day. I mean, on that too, I don't know how good the spotting locations are, but another good place would be Fort Walton Beach, Florida, because Eglin shares the public airport. I think Eglin. So that'd be another good one to get military planes and civilian planes, and not be worrying about being on base or anything. But I think you can get on base because I think you have military family, so. Yeah, worth a shot. And like I said, Savannah's a great place. Plenty of historical tours, a lot of good food down there. Like little rooftop restaurants and bars and places and stuff. And I know you're not a drinker, but they do have good food up there as well. Especially you get like one of those hotel ones that like overlooks the river. So like River Street has like restaurants that have like upper deck areas for you to go out to. But some of the hotels, like taller buildings, you can be like 20, maybe not 20 stories up, but maybe like 10 stories up, like overlooking the river. You can watch the big ships come in and everything. Nothing in Fort Walton. I've checked for locations. Oh, okay. It would be a good spot if there were locations, but I guess there's just no locations. I'm just trying to sit here and milk. Had a hotel overlooking the approach path to Hunter last night. Ooh, that'd be a good one. Especially if it was like wind in your favor. It sucked to get a hotel with like a very specific approach or whatever in mind, but then you get opposite winds that day and they come in the other way. "100 miles to destination." We're doing it, boys. I don't think I've really ever had a hotel that was like a decent airport looking hotel. Of course, I've never tried either. I've been telling myself for like the past 2 years I need to buy like a nice camcorder with like ridiculous optical zoom on it. Just that way I can go like recreationally spotting. Because I'm not looking to do it as like a more serious thing like you or Helicopter King or somebody like that. Like some days it's like, cool, I've got nothing to do. And it would be a good like get out there and do something sort of thing. Charleston would be a good one. I have to look up that location to see what that looks like. The Renaissances. But yeah, I'd like to get a solid camera for that. There's also another sort of video that I want to do, which is maybe ridiculous to some people. But if you look on, that's all the forward I got. That's crazy. If you look on YouTube of just like nighttime driving or something like that, there are people that do like 2 or 3 hour driving, not streams, but videos, to where they do 2 or 3 hours of like driving at night, like across a state or like a small country or something. And it's just like good noises, like they don't have the music on. It's just like being able to drive in silence and have the camera recording for good like ASMR audio, like people falling asleep to it sort of things. I want to do a video like that. Or like I've seen motorcycle ones also, and it's not that I want to make that my channel, but a video like that can get ridiculous amount of watch time because people will turn it on and just leave it on. And then also like a lot of views. You don't see a lot of those videos that get low views. They're weirdly ones that, like, if you post a 3-hour video of just like camera mounted in the car driving, as long as like visually pleasing and good audio to it, it's gonna pull numbers. It's like I've always wanted to do something like that, so I've spent a lot of time researching cameras, because like you're gonna run out of memory, so you have to have like an external storage solution. You have to have like all these things set up to be able to record high quality. Because that's another thing most people are doing, like GoPro. I want to do it professional. Met this kid in Atlanta last time. Came all the way from Vancouver. Oh wow. Went all the way to Hong Kong just to spot? Yeah, that's dedication to the game. Does he post? Or is he just, because I think you've, like, called out, not, is it LA Planes or something? Not called out, but, like, seen him spotting in Atlanta before? Or was that somebody else? But, dude, people have hobbies. People have things they like. Just like the pizza place I like to eat on Saturdays with Dino. It's right across the street from a railroad track. There's a big pavilion next to it. There's always train spotters out there, rail fans, foamers, whatever you want to call it. Oh, dang, that's cool. And that's cool that he's got like a family that will go out there and do stuff like that with him. Having something family supported and everybody gets into and enjoys it, yeah, wild. Just like me and my dad, we go do things. I know you and your family, you go do stuff. Like it's so cool. $84 miles. Yeah, this thing moves quick. We're doing 173 now. But also we're high enough to where our V&E is lowering. So we need to kill some altitude so we can go faster. Yeah, whatever it is, it's good pay and possibly remote where he can work on the move. Great, now I gotta listen to 6,500 feet of blade chop as we go down. Shallow, fast ascents lead to more blade noise. But as you can see right now, we're limited to like 165 V&E. It just popped up a little bit. But it's all about altitude and air thickness. Basically autoing at 160 knots right there. Yeah, remote's possible. Or it could be like a business owner where it's like he has people that run his stuff and he can run off and go do things. That's the dream for me. I'd like to have some sort of business that's self-sustaining outside where, like, I don't have to work. But obviously, like, I would go in and do things and work. Do you remember what type of camera it was? Was it a DSLR type, or was it like a camcorder sort of thing? And was he a picture sort of guy, or was he a video sort of guy? Okay. Sleep good, dude. Thanks a bunch for flying along and hanging out and keeping me company. I'm gonna keep my head down and just push this last little bit. Now we got 78 miles to go. Sleep good. Have a good day. I'll talk to you on the next one, dude. See ya. Some Sony. You don't care. Okay, which one? Pictures. Gotcha. Okay, now go to bed. Stop messaging. Go to sleep. See ya. I don't know if I'd call this fun, but I'll be going this direction if that matters. I know later, after I get off stream, I want to hop on Google and see what some of these random places are out here in the middle of the desert. And then there was one. Just me. Oh no. Screen froze there for a second on me. Of course, after they leave, my screen starts freezing and risk me crashing. Weird how sometimes that trims me forward a little bit. Also, welcome to the other person that just jumped in here. We're 70 miles from destination now after a 3-hour flight so far. 69 miles from destination. Nice. Ground speed, 170 knots. That brightness is ridiculous. I wonder if I can do anything about that without crashing. System. Nope. System. Backlight. Can still barely see it. Had better contrast earlier. Yeah, so for whoever's watching, if you have anything you want to talk about, please type it in the chat. and we'll talk about it. If not, I'm just going to kind of kick this in. Even though I am streaming for other people to watch, this is kind of a journey for me as well, so I'll be making this trip whether anybody's in here talking or not. But just so you know, since you're in here, in case you're listening or have your volume on, some people are curious, I'm flying the Airbus H160 today, which is this bad boy there. We're going from Dubai out in the middle of Saudi somewhere. I'm currently flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. The controls that I'm using, if you look in the top left of your screen, there's like a little GoPro up there, webcam, and I've got a Apache Simulators R44 version 2 or version 3, something like that. Those are my controls here. I am a real-life licensed helicopter pilot, fun fact. And computer settings, a 7800 X3D CPU, 4070 Ti Super GPU, some sort of Asus motherboard. There's memory in there, I guarantee it. It's air cooled. It's about all I know. I did build it, but computery things are not my forte, so I had a little bit of input from the Micro Center people to help me pick out the best for the budget I was working in. And Meta Quest 3 for the VR setup. And the talking scared you away. Adios. Thanks for dropping in. But I do have 3 likes here, which is neat, because only Southeast Aviation's been talking. So there is an extra person in here watching. Whoever you were, appreciate it. But yeah, so the Around the World series has just kind of been my way to keep myself mildly sane by giving me something to do in my off time. I work in the film industry in real life, and the show that I was working on is wrapped, and we're waiting for the next season to start here in a couple of months. While I can get other work, work's kind of slow right now. So, in an effort to be productive in one way or another, try to do streaming and videos and stuff just because it's something to keep me creative and talking, and it's also kind of a business write-off because it's practice for real life, you know. I taught myself how to hover and do a lot of the flying stuff here in the sim before I went to go get my real helicopter license. So all this investment can kind of be marked off on that, and even if you don't write that sort of stuff off, it's justified. Justified spending. Also, the ground's pretty low here, and there's a little cliff face off to the left, but it looks like we're going to be going off the edge of that soon. Up here. Hard to tell just because everything's brown. But looking at the map, it looks like we're going to be going off the cliff here soon. Powerful dreams, go, whatever. Somebody else. Let's see. Looks like that's your first time ever messaging in chat, dude. Welcome to the stream. Pretty cool. Good luck, man. Happy flying. I'm going to go do the 747 career mode. That's right. They just updated the career mode to where it's they have heavies and stuff now, right? Or super heavy or something. Anyways, I saw that in Sim Update 5 they changed that, so I'll hop back in career mode eventually, but the helicopters were such a bastard child with Flight Sim that so much of the career mode is just not worth it. Like, I'll do it every once in a while to grind. It's just not worth it. It's like all the cool rescue mission stuff. It's like, cool, take off, fly somewhere, orbit around a giant piece of land for 30 minutes, and you personally have to spot the person that's been lost or needing rescue. When you spot them, then it's like, okay, cool, we can go land there. But if you're trying to fly and you don't happen to see them, your crew does nothing to help, which is crap. Apparently they fixed the trees in the landing zone area, because a lot of times you couldn't rescue the person because you couldn't land near them. That was like the whole thing for like the initial starting mission or whatever, which sucked. Like the external load helicopter stuff, or cargo hook is what they call it. It's annoying because they give you like a 30-foot line, which, okay, sure, but they don't tell you how long it is, so you have no idea. Radar altimeter means nothing. If you're in third person, you can see how everything works a little bit better, but I'm flying this as a simulator, not as an arcade game, so I kind of want to like do stuff from the inside of the cockpit. That would make sense, right? Wrong, apparently, compared to them, or according to them. Yeah, a little bit of a cliff plateau area we were on there. And then when you do a external load mission, it's like, if you're doing it on like an oil platform, which is the ones I prefer to do, because it's like, fly off the platform, pick something up off the boat, bring it back to the platform, drop it off land. But they give you like drop zones that are ridiculously close to other stuff, so like you're hovering with blades like inches away from the platform itself, or from like the vertical supports of these oil platforms, oil rigs. Then again, you don't know where your thing is. There's no call outs from your person next to you about like height, left, right, forward. Unless you like are able to VR and look down, there's no way to really look down unless you do third person, which I don't want to do for simming reasons, obviously. And then it's like, once you do it once, the mission's over. Like, why can't you have it where there's like 20 things you need to pick up and move them around so you can get used to going back and forth and hitting the marks and everything? And it's not a good way to practice doing it one at a time. Just like there's the extended attack firefighting stuff for planes, allegedly. Like extended mission stuff for sling loads would be great. And then the same thing on the construction stuff. You're doing it in the sky crane or the Chinook, where your hook point's 20 feet behind you, if not more. They don't tell you how tall the piece is, so like usually, as far as I've seen, every mission with those, it's like assembling a power pole. And it's like, okay, cool, go move this giant power pole thing. And I figured that like our rope's like 30 feet. And then the power pole thing's like 45 feet. And then the thing you have to put it on top of is like 75 feet. Or something like that. So when you hover to attach it, which is like super small points, you have to be like a meter of accuracy, up, down, left, and right, forward and backward. Like, your dudes aren't giving you call outs, so you don't know where it's at. Any mirror attachment they have doesn't work. Nobody in the mission briefing, nothing tells you how long the cable is, how tall the part that you're moving is. If you're doing it in the Chinook and you're not doing third person, there's no way for you to do this and look out backwards unless you've got like a ridiculous sim setup, which I don't. I have controls in a chair, but they're not like locked down. I'll fall out of this thing if I look over too hard. Maybe that's a my issue sort of deal. But like, in a Chinook, it's like a 2 to 3 person crew. You can have a crew chief in the back going like forward, back, left, right. Same thing with the rescue missions. When you do the hoist ones, most of the hoist missions, you're over water. And you have to get down to like 20 feet above a floating rescue lifeboat thing, which you'd be blowing around if you're doing it in real life. Not good. So you would need to be like a 200-foot cable hoist on those just to keep the wind down, or hover away from the incident and then let the swimmer go over there and swim them back to you. That's typically the way. You have to hover right over this thing, like anywhere from like 5 to 30 feet above the water. The water, usually the graphics are so bad that it's like completely smooth. So there's like no vertical reference, or like you're basically flying instrument trying to hover because you're just watching your radar altimeter. Like I said, no call outs, no up, down, left, right. If you drop your swimmer 5 feet away from the dinghy, they won't swim to it. You have to drag their stupid little winch line over it. It's ridiculous. The career mode for helicopters is crap. And if somehow one of them sees this video that like designs or part of the flight sim team, whatever, call me. Call me. I will help you make this good. Whether it's for this one or for the next one, I will help you make this good. I can't program, but I can tell you what to do and not to mess it up. Or I can talk to you like this so that way you'll listen to me. Because I'm pretty sure it's a whole big development team that came over here from some country that we were in a few episodes ago. And the cool thing is, we're one viewer right now, and we're 3.5 hours into this stream. Ain't none of them watching. Ain't nobody watching. "32 miles. She'll be there in 15 minutes. Or less. We have an hour and 50 minutes of fuel available. More than enough. Cruising at 170 above the deck right now. 400 feet AGL. Moving. It's also weird how like you can hear I mean, I guess I did have the music playing in the background. Maybe that's still playing. Or no, I opened up the internet. I never started the background music. Usually I have a little background music playing. But I never started it on this stream, but I swear I hear a little bit of music. That's weird. Strange for sure. Definitely getting into city sort of things now. A city loosely. 28 miles. What's happening to my speed? Pour it back into here. The quicker I am done, the better. If anybody's coming back to watch this, sorry I'm quiet right there. I was just plotting and planning. I'm thinking I'm going to make whenever we get back to the USA on this stream, and get within 2 weeks or whatever of finishing up and actually completing the around the world trip. I'm thinking of, like, a week or so before, making a video, an in real life video of, like, I flew a helicopter around the world, but there's a catch, sort of like clickbaity sort of video, something that people will watch outside of the stream, because not a lot of people want to watch a live stream VR and get seasick sort of stream. And that's completely understandable. Not for everybody. Not exactly exciting content. I'm literally sitting here and yapping for multiple hours. But I'd like to make the bigger stream nicer, you know? Or make the final stream nicer. Especially if it's something where I can, like, plan the day that I'm going to finish. Like, if I can look ahead in the weather and say, cool, the weather's good, timing will be good, whatever. If I can do that, that's even better. Okay, that messed up my sitting. There we go. Yeah, because I kind of like to invite other people to come see it. To come see the end, fluff a little bit. Like, imagine a big finale to a show and nobody's watching. Does it matter to me? No. I could also not make this video and be completely okay. The around the world has always been a thing for me. And even though it's nice to have people riding along in the stream, it's something for me to do. It gives me practice. It gives me teaching practice to some extent. Although I'm not a CFI, and I'll never claim to be until I am one, me explaining things that I learn is a very nice way for me to reinforce the things that I learn. So it's been extremely helpful for me in the learning process of actually getting my license, figuring stuff out. There's been concepts that I thought I understood, that I've understood more and more until it eventually clicked, and a lot of that comes from just streaming and talking about it. Ooh, another little plateau. Secondary plateauing. Interesting. Did not expect that. Two little airports over here on this side. One there and one over there. $14 miles away. O-E-R-I and O-E-R-A. We'll cross this one midfield at speed. Oh boy. Sometimes it doesn't like me moving around and putting sudden inputs into the helicopter. But that's what I get for not having self-centered controls. That's on me. That's how we almost crashed earlier, because I was looking down here at our Garmin 750 and happened to be leaning too far forward on the controls. Hey there, other viewer. What's going on? We're only like 12 miles from our final destination here. Little bitty runway there. Wow. What lands there? Okay, let's throw a little bit of altitude in here. I'd hate to find a power pole while we're this close, because that would reset us all the way back to the coast and put us over that desert again. And for anybody watching, whenever there's a crash in the game, we restart to our last fuel or start stop point. And we only really do it when it's my fault. So if I'm flying low and being stupid, that's my fault. But a lot of times we'll run into what we call pterodactyls. And pterodactyls are just things where there's floating nonsense in the middle of the game that will crash you if you run into it, but it's not like a visible object. One of those would be off of or some of them would be off the Sunshine Coast of Australia. There's a island chain that has like a whole bunch of shipwrecks along the island or something. If you're doing an approach to one of the helipads that's kind of like out there at the resort or whatever, done. It'll crash you. It happened, it respawned me, I tried it again and it was replicatable, so it's not a me issue, it's there's something floating in the air that's invisible issue. So we're not considering those resets, that's just, oh well, we'll get over it. But I think I've only had like one crash that would have been like my fault, and that was it might have been with this helicopter, or the 145. But sometimes on the extremely long flights, this one or the 145 from High Performance Group have an easy way, relatively, to set up an autopilot control thing. Which, while it exists on some of the other ones, the way I have controls which don't self-center, where if I were to let go, this would just flop to the side. It makes it pretty much impossible for any of the other helicopters' helicopter eye, for their autopilot systems to recognize that I'm hands off, because it moves. And if I bump it and I don't grab it and fix it immediately, in the ground. And it was something like that where we had taken off and we were going to be flying over like desolate desert in Australia. Actually, like less worse than what today was. But I wasn't perfectly still balancing my cyclic, and it screwed us. But it was shortly after takeoff, so I just considered it a fail and restarted. So I think that's been the only actual restart in this entire stream. 63 episodes in, 3 hours per episode. You know, at near 200 hours of flight just in this series, if not more. So yeah, being this close to destination, I don't want to mess up from something with the controls going wrong, my headset freezing. We're just going to make ourselves and get it in there. Yeah, what is it? 4 nautical miles and a 295 heading, which is basically just this airport right here, which we're not even that far away. Because we're going to be setting down over on the northeast ramp, I believe. Is where I want it to be. Yeah, I want to be up over here. What should we do down here? That looks more... Yeah, there's helicopters down here on the bottom. And I think this is a military base, technically. It's an old runway there. So I don't need the tablet anymore. We're going to park down here on the bottom left. Because it looks more FBO-ish down here. So I'm killing off speed, collective, the left hand is lowered. Hard left pedal coming in, trying to keep trim to some extent. Adding in the collective now, while tilting backwards to air brake us in. Once we get below 60 knots, we can start considering putting the gear down. This looks like general parking over here, so I like that. I know there's terrain, but I'm not going to pull up because I'm literally landing over here. And actually what I want to do, which kind of crappy that I'm blowing around these other guys, but I kind of like parking in a place that I remember where we're at, so we can pick back up over there. So I'm going to do, we're going to use this ramp over here. Parking brake is off. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The screen was freezing on me there for a second, at least in my headset. And parking brake on. Almost bad there on the landing. Pull those back to idle. Turn the lights off. I don't care that people can walk into our blades if they want to. That's their own dumb fault if they do it. Let's see. I can go on standby. Engine's going off. Rotor brake on. Cool. Battery. C, shift C. Thank you anybody for coming back to watch us now. I don't think anybody's in here now with me. But we have made it to the center of Dubai, whatever this town. Get up here, tablet. Whatever this little place in the middle is called. Which means our next place that we're going is probably going to be up here somewhere. Let me just do a direct to see what that looks like. 661 miles. I'm not a fan of that, but what was today? Today might have been just as far. Direct to 472, so yeah. Oh, we probably did 520 or so following the coast. Either way, we're now here in the middle of the desert. Next up, we'll be working our way out of the desert, a boring stream or two ahead. Then we're going to be doing that. But anyways, we'll talk about that once we get out of the game. Locking in this position. So, here we go. End flight. Clocked in. Thanks for the work. So, if anybody's watching... Crawdad just got in here, dude. Dude, he's always doing helicopter stuff. Dude, if you see this, I have been flying. Which I think I actually messaged him on Facebook a while back. I found him just because it's just a helicopter dude that flies. I see you just spawned in near me in the middle of Dubai. Saudi Arabia, I just did a 4-hour flight for my Around the World YouTube series. So I'm ready to get off. But thanks for dropping in. So yeah, Crawdad, dude. Thanks for dropping in. I see you over here where I was. Yeah, you can see him right there, and that's where we parked. But yeah, next up would be set as departure. This might be a pesky one. Let me just see what fuel range looks like. Because I kind of got to pre-plan this a little bit.
So yeah, maybe Prince Salam. That'll be a good midpoint to get gas. And that will make this very possible. And that makes it very possible for all the coastal stuff up there. Anyways, everybody, thanks for watching. I'm going to get out of here, go to bed, and we'll do this again eventually. See ya!